In this episode of New Jersey Living, we have another return episode, this time to Hudson County. One of the high demand locations in Hudson County is Hoboken. So we've had Hoboken visits for both rental and retail. Now that I think of it, Hoboken was maybe the first or second episode on our channel, and we had a follow-up visit with the rental market as well. In this episode, we're going to focus on the upper part of town, the uptown portion of Hoboken, which we're, for the most part, once you get into the double digits, 10th Street, I guess you can argue 9th Street as well, but definitely 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, going all the way up to 15th, that whole area is uptown in Hoboken, and we're going to focus on that area. So we're going to dive back into our big three, as we do when we have our town specific features, and point out some very, very interesting and fascinating development in Hoboken, in that uptown area, that's just taken place over the past couple years. So stay tuned. We're about to dive into that now. Welcome to New Jersey Living. My name is Corey Jones. I'm a licensed real estate agent here in New Jersey with Coldwell Banker. I'm team leader of the New Jersey Living Group and host of New Jersey Living, the podcast. So on this channel, we endeavor to cover all things New Jersey, of course, the real estate market, the dining scene, social events, iconic locations. So if any of these things interest you, you definitely want to tune into this channel and click like, subscribe, and notification bell. Even drop some comments if you'd like to get more information, share some information, or just pose some, I guess, intriguing questions that we all can dive into in a community space. For those who may be viewing for the first time, you're going to note that we do focus on the most recent sales in the market, because that gives most information to current buyers who are out there shopping, as well as current homeowners who own property in that given neighborhood. So if you need to get some updated information, and by updated, I mean not like Zillow or Redfin, where you may see some properties and you look up a realtor, or you find out later that it was actually already an accepted offer. All right, my website will provide you with more information that is current. So if you go to my website, right here in the details, you can look up a property by area or a specific address, or you can browse through some of the feature communities I have on one page and just browse through the inventory available in that community. So that's an option for those who are looking for more live, active inventory that's available on the market right now. If you are looking, you're in that process of buying, take advantage of my buyer's guide. Take a quick scan of the QR code, look at some content, some information I have for you. And for those who may be new to New Jersey or exploring New Jersey, I have a relocation guide right there. Scan the code, you can get access to it right here in the details also. So thank everyone again for joining us today. We are going to really hone in on Hoboken once again, and we're again taking a return visit because these are locations that are high demand, a lot of interest, primarily because it is right there on the other side of the Hudson, opposite Manhattan. So with that being said, let's dive into the big three. The big three, some of y'all who've been watching for some time, you could run it down without even listening to me say this again. Those who are here for the first time, you're going to pretty much get the quick gist of where I'm going with this. If you are central to northern New Jersey, you know that your location and your price points, whether it be rent or buying, is relative to how close you are to New York City. That's one criteria. Secondly, is there a local train station? And by local, is there one in town? And school ratings. All right, so those three are the determining factors as to where your market value, all right, and or valuation is going to be. So for Hoboken, as I mentioned, directly across the Hudson, you can take a ferry. If you're uptown, you can take a ferry. If you're downtown, you can take a ferry. There's also a PATH station, and we're going to get into that in just a minute. But just in terms of proximity, you are a ferry ride across from Manhattan, right? So that's going to be a check mark. Now we'll get to train station. So train station, there are both light rail and there is the PATH. All right, so light rail, if you live on the western side of Hoboken and you don't want to necessarily select from one side to the other, and you're maybe on like 8th, 7th Street on the west side, maybe you want to hop on a light rail and take it all the way over to the train station to catch the path. So path station is there. You have direct access, quick access to the city, check mark there. And finally, school ratings. And we flashed that up. So Hoboken school ratings, you can see, is an A-rated district on niche.com. So it has all three. The big three are check marks, which means high demand, which also means higher than what your average is going to be per square foot primarily in Hoboken compared to another location in the suburbs or even in Hudson County, but doesn't have those same big three checkoff items. All right. So before we dive into the market, we want to first take a look at one of the more fascinating locations that I can think of right offhand when I'm talking about that general region in Hudson County. And we are at the Northwest Resiliency Park. This park is a relatively new park, just completed. I remember driving through when they were still working on this, and now it's done. We're gonna flash some drone footage so you can see the aerial view. This is a pretty phenomenal space that is a combination of green space. It's there for recreation because there's recreational fields there as well, but also water retention. So Hoboken, going back about 12 years ago when we had Superstorm Sandy, that storm came through, was no longer a hurricane, started out as a hurricane towards the southern part of the country. By the time it reached us in New Jersey, it was only a superstorm. So the winds had diminished, but storm surge was very much an issue. So places like Hoboken, a lot of places that are coastal in New Jersey had heavy flooding. All right, so that was a very impactful event. There's even some mitigation plans to address the future of that kind of scenario if we have any more storms, to try to reduce the flooding issues that Hoboken would face. But then there's other situations where it's not necessarily something coming off of the ocean, but we had another storm that came through. There was a hurricane at one point again, but traveled inland from basically the Gulf towards New Jersey. That's Ida. So Ida came, it seemed to rest over New Jersey for 3 days straight, just dumping rain. And this is going back maybe 3 years. And Ida had significant flooding effects throughout the northern part of the state. So no doubt Hoboken was impacted there again. So this park is designed to be a water retention. It's water mitigation because it's designed to collect, you're talking several hundred thousands of gallons of water in an event. And then over time, you're talking millions of gallons that it will help to basically drain and remove from what otherwise would be streets and other areas that would flood. All right, so this was a major event. You had the mayor, you had the governor, you had senators when this park was open, just to really hone in on how this was a very significant event and accomplishment for not only Hoboken but the entire state of New Jersey, because this is very much cutting edge approach to a park design. All right, so what we're hoping to be able to do is to get someone from Hoboken to come and join our podcast coming up, so stay tuned on that. I'm working on that right now so that we can have someone to share a few more insights about resiliency and some of the other plans that Hoboken has moving forward. So with market activity, we are going to focus in on one given location in the uptown section of Manhattan, and that's going to be Maxwell Place. So Maxwell Place, these are a couple buildings that are built right there on the Hudson, right there by their own nice little park. You're going to take in some road footage, and you're going to see some walking footage, and you're going to see some drone footage all mixed in here as we talk about this location, as we talk about the different properties. So the community itself is a phenomenal location. There's city views. There's, again, you have your green space that is right there, virtually outside of the door of the building, that you just walk down to the Hudson with the dog, kids, whatever. There's a local dining that's around. When we talk about the proximity to the dining scene, Washington is going to be the main dining strip that runs from all the way north to south, and there's dining options from north to south. All right, so those options that are there, it's a really, really phenomenal location. So we're going to take a look at a few units just to get an idea of what we're looking at with days on market, price points, square footage, and have an idea of what that luxury level, because these are very much luxury level, looks like for condo dwelling in Hoboken. So if you've seen my Hoboken episode, the previous one, you'll take note that many buildings in Hoboken are older buildings that date back prior to World War II. There are several that are very much newer, and this is one of those that reflect that, your newer construction. This is a Toll Brothers project, so you don't even have to be in New Jersey to recognize that name of Toll Brothers. They are pretty much everywhere. So this is one of their construction projects, and we're going to look at the first unit being in the 1000 building on 1000 Maxwell Lane, and this is Unit 8E, listed at $779. Sold at $760,000, and this is a studio, so there is not a separated bedroom. A studio, 1 full bath, 670 square feet, and HOA 908,000 monthly for the HOA. So as we take a look at some of our images here, you see how pretty much your typical studio is going to be. You're going to have a kitchen either off to the side or kind of a galley style, one or the other. And then you have your open space, which people are going to have to decide how they're going to design. And this person did a really effective design. You have a bed up against a wall, and in front of the bed space is where they have a couch and a television, which has a little kind of entertainment area. All right. So this washer dryer unit, you can see is right there, a stackable unit in the unit, and then it goes through some photos that you can see some of the amenities, the pool, the fitness center, the rooftop lounge. There's lounge spaces that are in the buildings that can be for work, that can be for entertainment, can be for meetings, areas that you're going to have opportunities to have just some quiet time to read a book or maybe even do work throughout the day. So all of that HOA really spells out to the amenities that comes along with the building. Parking in this case is none. They will have some instances where parking is available, but that's going to be reflective in the price point. So there's nothing that's deeded with this given property or unit, but there are often situations where you can get a garage space somewhere in town that is either rented. There are times that people even sell them. Right. So if you do own one, that is going to be a pretty consistent rental for the duration of time, because there's always a demand for parking in Hoboken. All right. So this is the first glimpse at the first unit. We're going to take in a little bit more, some drone and some walking footage as we hop from one unit to the next. So I'll see you at the next unit. All right, our next unit, still at the 1000 building, is Unit 11L. This one listed at $799, sold at $770. This is a 1-bedroom, albeit the square footage is not that significantly different. This one is 676 square feet. HOA is $917 per month. All right, and this one was on the market for 30 days. So we can see here we have an enclosed bedroom, which was not the case in the other property, and it has its own walled off designated living area. So very much otherwise very similar layout, very similar. You can see that they had a park view out their window, and that's something that does factor in as well when we're talking about the cost difference between units. And on paper, it may not always make sense. You may see a unit that has virtually the same square footage or not significantly different square footage, but a very noticeably different price. That often comes down to view. Is that a corner unit that has a view that pans from one side, maybe looking at the city, another side looking all the way to downtown? It depends on how that particular unit is situated that will garner more market value. So in this case, again, 30 days on market, we see these first two went slightly under. There's, as you would imagine, there's a little less demand for paying this kind of price for a smaller unit or a unit that's going to be 1 bedroom or studio, right? It's because you can find at that price something really, really nice, really in Hoboken. You don't have to go out of Hoboken to get a nice property around that similar price point, definitely Jersey City. Okay, so this was more reflective of not having 2 bedrooms or just an immense size and having to maybe negotiate a little bit. But still, that's a very attractive price for a 1 bedroom unit. All right, so now that we're through our 2 smaller units, we're gonna see how it looks as we escalate up the scale. So I'll see you at the next stop. For our next unit, we skip over to the 1125 building, unit number 534. This is again a 1 bedroom unit, but square footage, you notice a difference, 892 square feet. So we've jumped up another 200 square feet in size. HOA here is 772. List price was 860, sold 9 days. After 9 days, 882. I'm not saying sold, I mean going under contract. 882.5, all right, is the sale price on this one. And when we look at these photos, we can see the difference in what 200 square feet, the difference it makes. So we see an open concept kitchen, not a galley style, opens directly up. We see those windows that are, it looks like not all the way sealing the floor, but these are larger windows letting in a lot of natural light. Open area both for dining and living. And then we get to the bedroom, which is has a sizable bathroom. Didn't see closet space on this particular one, but then we see a lot of the amenities that, again, everyone is going to have access to, and spells out, why people are paying that type of HOA. So this case, couple 100 feet in square footage, translates to about $100,000. All right, in market value. All right, so that's our step up in terms of that 1 bedroom from 670 to roughly 880 and 90-ish. And we're going to continue to take that step up with the next option here. And so you recall that I had just mentioned how you may not see significant difference in square footage, but you see a noticeable difference in price. And this next unit, we're still in the 1125 building, and this is unit 647. Listed at 930, sold at 930. This was like 0 days on market, which is very likely that this one had either a couple cases could have happened. It could have been a coming soon, where there was already knowledge about it coming and offers came in immediately and it sold. Another case it could have been is that it was an exclusive. So maybe an agent had it as an office exclusive, didn't go open online and Zillow and everything, but because of that agent's connections and maybe some office connections, it was pretty much an in-house sale, and it was thrown up on the MLS as, just an official FYI and getting credit, MLS credit for the listing agent. So I'm not sure what scenario that was for sure, but it definitely helps. Take that back. Selling agent was a different firm. So this one was certainly something that probably was coming soon. All right, 0 days on market, coming soon most likely, and it went right away. So this one included deeded parking. So that's part of the reason why we see an escalation in price point, and as I mentioned before, sometimes where that unit is located. Is it on the end corner or versus interior, where the types of views are very different. So listed and sold at 930, 1 bed, 1 bath. HOA was 772, square footage 895, very similar to the previous unit. And now we're gonna take the next step to see what the 2-bedroom unit market looks like. So our first 2-bedroom unit, we're still in 1125 building, and this is unit 1118. So we're on the 11th floor. We're climbing the ladder, if you will, a little further up the elevator. And this one, 2 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, 1,370 square feet. All right, did not list the HOA on this one, but know that, again, deeded parking came with this unit. This one was on the market. Again, it was 0 days on market. Let's see if this one is the same agent. So this probably was a internal office exclusive kind of situation. All right, but this one pretty much, again, you see as you get larger in size, as you get a bit more involved with in terms of the scale of amenity, which includes parking, it becomes a very attractive prospect for that person that's considering, do I live in Manhattan, downtown Brooklyn? All right, do I want to be in Dumbo? Do I want to be in Manhattan? Or am I okay with Jersey City? And maybe I'm paying close, I said Jersey City, Hoboken. Maybe I'm in Hoboken and paying close to the same price as I would in the city perhaps, but you're gonna find a little bit more in terms of the square footage. You're gonna find a little bit more in amenity in New Jersey compared to being in those other 2 locations. So in this one, 1.47 is what the 2-bedroom scenario looks like with 1370 in square footage. And our final two properties, we're gonna see again an escalating scale as we get into 3 bedrooms. All right, we're getting down to our final 2 property features here, both 3-bedroom, both in 1125 building. First unit is 435, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,609 square feet, $1,340 a month for HOA. Garage parking spot coming with the unit. With 435, we can see they have their own private patio space. You see the difference in square footage, right? So you can see open concept kitchen leading into living room. You see hardwood floors. You also see that when we eventually get to the bedroom, and you see dining area as well. When you get to some of your bedroom spaces, these are larger open spaces, right? So very comfortable sized bathrooms. This is what you would expect in terms of luxury scale and amenity for location, the features of the building itself, and keep in mind your walking distance from the ferry, right? And I mean a very brief walk down to the ferry to get over into the city. So this is very much reflecting larger size and very, very high-end amenities. And this was 1.7 million, sold at 1.7 million, 9 days on market, went very, very quickly. All right. And this will lead us into our final and what would be the feature property of the day. Our final property is 3-bedroom, 3 full bath at 434/436, listed at 2.4999. So basically it was listed at 2.5 million, sold at 2.275 million, 20 days on the market. HOA $1,821 per month, and square footage 2,215 square feet. Let's take a look at these photos. Now these, again, the appearances that these look more like the engineered hardwood, tall ceiling, full ceiling to floor, windows, letting in tons of light. Even your finishes, you can see like pretty much the scale and higher end finishes for the kitchen. The bedrooms, very spacious bathroom, dual vanity, walk-in closet, everything again that you would, if you're spending over $2 million, this is what it should look like, right? So you also have for parking one garage spot coming with the property. All right. And again, you step out your door of that building and all the curb appeal and just conveniences that you want location wise are right there. Get to the city, just hop on the ferry. Want a dining experience, walk down a block or two to Washington, just walk further up to 14th. There's actually a few restaurants right there in that immediate area, including La Isla that has a newer restaurant that is up in that neighborhood. So this is, again, a taste of that uptown existence of Hoboken. You do find more of the newer buildings in uptown, although there's some sprinkling in other areas as well, because Hoboken has more to come. So if you haven't been watching some of the recent news about Hoboken, there's more development coming that way. So my hope is to have one of the city officials with me on my podcast coming up pretty soon, that we can take a deeper dive into that. And again, talking about some of that flood mitigation efforts by the town. And we want to, again, continue to bring some real valuable content and information your way on both Hoboken and the surrounding areas and in New Jersey in general. So thank everyone again for joining today. Hope that you found something insightful. Do drop some comments right in here, especially if we covered anything that you may have some direct knowledge or experience with. It would be great. Also click like, subscribe, click notification bell, scan my first time buyer QR code or relocation QR code if you need information on either end. And if you are a homeowner and if you own one of these units in Hoboken, or maybe not a unit, maybe it's a multifamily, give me a call just to get an understanding of what your current market value is. This is something that is an investment to you. You should have that updated annually. All right. So thank you again for everyone, and stay safe and stay tuned to New Jersey Living.